step right up, where luxury meets lunacy, and the wedding world is our three-ring circus. We're your ringmasters, Marylen Exposito and Manolo Doreste, wedding pros with 50 years of combined experience and a flair for the dramatic. From show-stopping venues and wild vendor tales to jaw-dropping I-dos, this is your all-access pass to Happily Ever After. Welcome to Ringleader Show.
Welcome to the Ringleader Show. I am Manolo Doreste, a wedding and portrait photographer.
I'm Marylen Exposito, a wedding and event planner.
And together we have over 50 years of wedding industry experience.
We've seen it all.
And whether it's wedding disasters, drunk uncles,
Bridezillas, groomzillas nowadays.
malfunctions of the dresses, we've seen it all. So hold on tight. This is not going to be a sugar-coated podcast. So get ready. Here we go. So the show breakdown is we're going to talk a little about us. You're going to get to meet the ringleaders. You're going to get to know a little about kind of how we started into this career. You're going to maybe learn how we got to where we're at now, how we met each other, and what the goal is for this three-ring show. So we'll start with Marylen, and tell me a little bit about how you started into the world of weddings.
So it started when I was studying at the University of Miami. I actually studied broadcast journalism. And I also was planning gala events and donor recognition events for the School of Music. As I was doing that, my friends, young and dumb, were getting married. And they started asking me, hey, who do I use for a caterer? Do you have anybody to use for photography, with your contacts? And I did. And then little by little, I just started doing their baby showers and their bridal showers. And I became everybody's maid of honor.
27 dresses.
27 dresses. Still not married to this day. So I think I cursed myself. And then I went ahead and in 2001, September of 2001, The Wedding Planner.
I knew this was, I was waiting for this.
The movie with J-Lo came out. So I went to the movie theater with my best friend to watch it. And as we're watching it, she turns to me and she's like, why aren't you doing something like this? And I'm like, you know what? I think it's time that I do. And back then there was not, back in my day, there wasn't any social media. I mean, we have MySpace. There wasn't any kind of networking events that you could say, okay, having a wedding planner was an absolute luxury. It wasn't a necessity as it is nowadays.
Right.
So fake it till you make it. I started calling hotels. I had my little business card made. I walked all up and down Miracle Mile, handing it to bridal shops, being like, you don't know me. I'm a wedding planner. I've been in this industry for a couple of years. Bullshit.
Did you have a company name?
I did. It was Marylen Exposito Weddings.
It's always been the same.
Marylen Exposito Weddings.
Love this.
It's funny because one of my good friends was studying PR at the time. And I was like, I want to name it To Have and To Hold. How fucking tacky.
Oh my God.
And,
I died.
And I'm like, I want to name it To Have and To Hold. And she's like, listen, have you realized how unique your name is? And I said, you know what? It's true. Because it's not Marylen, like spelled like Marilyn Monroe. It's Marylen. My mom would be so proud.
It's not Latin at all.
Yeah, not Latin at all. And Exposito. So it was like, okay, that is, my name is pretty unique. She's like, just name it your name. And I said, oh my God, you're so right.
Yeah.
So that's how Marylen Exposito Weddings came to be. 24 years later, I'm here. I have stories galore. Not just disasters, but beautiful stories as well. Having to move an entire wedding within 4 hours notice to a different venue, having the groom call the morning of the wedding and say he's not going through it.
Well, we'll get to the stories later.
Yes. And having weddings, rained upon. But it's been an experience. I never put together my broadcasting experience with what I currently do nowadays until one day you said to me, hey, you realize that you're in the middle of the craziness and the storm, and you're kind of like the director telling everybody to relax, take camera one, get ready camera two, take camera two, cut to the commercial. It's kind of the same thing as a timeline.
I was at Catalyst?
You weren't a catalyst. You reminded me of how talented I am. But thank you. I appreciate that.
I want people to know I don't often get a lot of credit or compliments for her.
Do not.
So I needed to make sure that was recorded, underlined, and bolded.
So how did you get into being a photographer?
Wow. Photography for me was always in my life when I kind of looked back at it, right? So at 8 years old, I was gifted a camera. At 12, I was gifted a camera. At 17, I was gifted a camera. At 24, I was gifted my first digital camera. So when I was in a consultation with a bride and her father, And he turned to me and said, "Oh, how long have you been shooting weddings?" And I had X amount of years under my belt as far as a photographer in that industry. But then I said, "Oh, I took some of my first photos when, at my brother's wedding." And he goes, "Oh, well, you were 8 years old?" I was like, "Oh, wait, no, shit, I was 12. So my sister had gone to Mexico, came back with a digital camera, actually a film camera. This was obviously back in my day. She gave me the film camera. And I started photographing everything I saw on site. And I remember going to my brother's wedding. I remember standing outside of the church, taking photos of my family, my brother and my cousin. And the moment that was most vivid is when I stood next to the paid working professional photographer with my little camera that had an interchangeable lens and a flash. My flash was making his flashes go off. So he turned to me and goes, "Listen, little buddy, I love that you're taking pictures, but go ahead and wait till I take mine because your flash is making my flash go off." He was American. So I was like, oh, cool, I could do that. So the moment he took his photo, I took mine. Then fast forward to just having all this kind of fun experience. I worked with 2 commercial photographers out of Fort Lauderdale, some local photographers here in Miami. And immediately I knew that this is what I wanted to do. And my career kind of began with children and families, slowly into the Sweet 16, Sweet 15, what we call quinceañera market here in Miami. After that, it stepped into weddings. And when I felt I had enough of that experience together, I then crossed over into the commercial and advertising division. And that was 24 years ago.
Amazing.
So maybe it's 28 years. 48 years.
At the end of the day, you're 50. I'm almost 50.
Yeah.
We're just old as hell.
So we're here. Old as hell.
Here we are.
Back in my day.
Back in my
All
day.
right. So,
So I want the audience to know, and I'm going to have to say this story because my friend here has a really bad memory. Again, he's older. How it is that this came to be, how it is that we actually met. So do you remember that story?
I think I remember a
Vividly.
wedding.
Okay,
that
a
was
wedding.
at the Trump.
No. See?
Oh.
Totally wrong.
Fudge.
Totally wrong.
Doral.
The Trump didn't exist back then, and it wasn't called, and we were nowhere in that vicinity.
You delete
So
all that, by the way.
again, I'm gonna say the story. This is why. We had a wedding at the Coral Gables Congregational, and then the reception was at the Dayland Marriott.
Oh, this is ringing a bell.
Okay.
Oh, this is ringing a bell.
Yes, you still had like that surfer type of hair that
Hair.
yeah.
Just period. Hair.
Well, I didn't want to say that,
Hair.
but no tenía las entradas. But the wedding, it's the first time I meet him. We had like a brief conversation. I was only a day of planner, which I no longer do, but back then, I did day of.
And we were both probably started our business at the same time.
Exactly. So it was probably, I want to say like maybe our 5th or 6th year of being in the wedding industry. And, I get there to the wedding day and we get back from the church. And I remember he comes up to me and he's like, "Listen, I need $1.25 per person for each bridal party." And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, get that for me." With his little freaking attitude. "Get that for me because I need it and I need it now." And I said, "Okay, great." So I think I had $20 on me, went to the front desk, got the change that he needed and brought him. This was a large bridal party.
You're right.
I think she had 6 or 7 bridesmaids, same as the groomsmen or whatever. And I was like, what the fuck does this guy want $1.25 per person for? I couldn't believe it. I was like, I don't know what he's planning on doing. He's already getting on my nerves. I'm like, I already see this is going south. And then all of a sudden I see he gets them on the metro rail. And I was like, what is he doing? And later on, after I saw the pictures, I was like, holy shit, he got them in the metro rail, kind of like very city-esque. The bride and groom, everybody else kind of like hanging out in the back. And it was super cool. I had never witnessed anything like that. So this bride was so gracious that she actually sat the vendors in a table at the wedding.
I remember that.
And of course, he's fucking sitting next to me. And I'm already annoyed because I still have yet to see that amazing picture I just talked to you about.
We didn't have digital cameras back then.
No.
Remember this. This is pre-digital.
And if you know Manolo asks you 1,001 questions when he meets you. Like, he wants to know if your parents are divorced, like, what was your trauma? What is going on? How did you become a planner? But he obviously very charismatic. And I was like, okay, I can see past the $1.25 mission that he just made me go after. And after I saw the pictures, and again, not to not to blow smoke up his ass, because I never do this. I was like, shit, I really need to take this guy more clients. I love his photography. And that's how we met. And that's how this came to be. And 20 something years later, we've traveled to different countries together. We've been through a bunch of crap together. We were office mates at one point. We've thrown parties. We've been there for each other, through heartbreaks and breakups.
I've styled you in very beautiful photo shoots and
His first photo shoot that he styled me, I looked like a lesbian. Aside from, nothing against lesbians, because I love them. They're one of my clients.
Can we maybe rephrase it you were in a more masculine look?
He made me look like John Travolta, but the female version, with a white jacket and a black jacket, with a white jacket and a black undershirt. It was awful. But I want to tell you, I'm like, it's my fault, because again, biased. I'm like, oh my God, gay dude. He probably knows so much about fashion. Let me take him with me to buy the outfit that for the shoot that he's going to do for me. Wow, what a huge mistake.
Huge mistake. I work with stylists.
Again,
nope,
never again.
Not happening.
From that day on, I was like, great pictures. We need to change the outfit, and that's not going to happen. But aside from that, yeah, we've been through a lot together. And I called them up one day and I said, hey, listen, why don't we do a podcast? I mean, we have really good chemistry. We've been, good friends for so long. We have all of this insight, and education that we can teach everybody else out there. And we know so many people that we want to bring on this podcast that we can't wait, that are what we call ringleaders in this industry. So that's how this came to be.
So our goal here with the Ringleader Show is how we kind of see weddings as something as far as a little bit of a circus. Not in a bad way, but in how under one roof, there's many different acts, many different shows going on at the same time, and how we see that experience in the wedding world.
If you know anything about me, we're definitely going to be as transparent as possible. You're going to hear some bad language, some foul language. There's going to be a lot of motherfuckers thrown all over the place. But we are going to bring you education. We're going to bring you very informative topics on what's going on with the wedding industry today, good or bad. We're going to be talking a lot about pricing and trends and what's coming up in the next couple of years. We're very excited with the actual guests that we're going to be having coming on board. So, yeah.
We'll also talk about trends, some behind the scenes, maybe some stories that don't always make it to public access because you don't necessarily always share that information on other platforms. Our guests will also be industry leaders, our friends and colleagues, and they'll be bringing their insight, their information, and their experiences to you to give you that insight into what happens behind the world of a wedding.
Right, with no filter, zero filter.
Sin filtro. This segment is going to be kind of getting to know us a little bit better beyond kind of what we say about ourselves. So we have crafted 3 questions for each of us where we're going to kind of ask each other. And I'm a little nervous because her face and her expression seems really, really, really wicked.
I have very genuine questions that I'm sure our audience would love to know about you.
You, Marylen, create beautiful weddings and memories and experiences for your clients.
This is true.
Is there a dream that you've had to let go of? And tell me about that.
What do you mean by a dream?
A dream, a fantasy, something you wanted, a career goal, experience. I might do this later in life, but I want to be on Broadway. I'd love to be on Broadway.
Okay, I'm going to get to that. Do not cheat on your questions.
Fuck, I didn't
I'm
cheat.
so over this shit. This fucking guy. Siempre hace la misma mierda. Okay, is there a dream I had to let go of? I want to say yes. I want to say I didn't fight as hard as I could have to become an actual news reporter and broadcast. Now, I'll tell you this. I never wanted to do serious reporting.
Hard news.
Obvio, I'm not a serious person. Pero I am what in Spanish we call una farandulera. So,
oh my God, absolutely.
Anything that has to do with the entertainment world, I wanted to be on the red carpet. I wanted to be an entertainment, like, Julie, what was her name? Juliana?
Rancic.
Rancic,
Yes.
correct.
Yes.
That's who I wanted to be.
Yeah.
I wanted to I was so enthralled with Hollywood and just looking
You
at
still
stars.
are.
I am, but very low key, because if they're in front of me, I freak the fuck out. I pretend like, it's not, I don't become a badass. I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, I don't want to take a picture with them.
This is not a question that was in the lineup, but can you tell us your experience when you stepped into that elevator?
Oh, damn it. Okay, so...
The year was?
Okay, let me finish the story of the reporter first.
Okay, your dream, sorry.
So my dream, correct. And I gave it up because in order to become the next best thing, you always have to start off small, and you have to do your own camera work, and you had to get paid like $10 an hour, and do your own editing and doing all that fun stuff, right? In like a little town in Idaho. And I didn't want to leave Miami. Huge mistake. I didn't want to leave my family. I didn't know how I was going to afford doing that, making about $10 an hour. So I had to pivot. And I pivoted to becoming a wedding planner, which, in a way is a lot like being the director, of a newscast or what have you. So that's a dream that I gave up. Okay. I could still probably do that someday as a vieja reporter or even this, like, this brings me so close to home and doing something like that I'm okay with giving up that dream. Now, you asked me about my elevator story. I had a wedding on a Sunday, the Sunday before Martin Luther King. I forgot what year. Whatever year J-Lo was dating A-Rod. And I get, the wedding's almost done with. I'm already like trying to find things to do until it ends. So I said, okay, let me start, taking stuff up to the bride's room. And I was... Which
is one of your favorite things to do.
Yeah, totally. And heels and exhausted at the end of the night. So I had the top part of the cake. So I'm holding the cake box. And the elevator doors open and there's this huge guy standing like this. And he moves out of the way. And all of a sudden, J-Lo walks out. I'm like... I must be dreaming. I'm at the Colonnade in Coral Gables. What is J-Lo doing here? Then A-Rod walks in right behind her. And I'm just there holding the cake. I swear to you, I felt like Jennifer Grey in Dirty Dancing holding the fucking watermelon. I was holding the cake, like, in awe of her. But you
said hello to her.
I didn't say
You told her that
to her.
This is who inspired your career.
I didn't say anything because I was dumbfounded like a little... girl, just looking at her first of all, I was looking at her. She is flawless. I really wanted to see if I could find like a hole of cellulite. She was wearing a super tight little dress. No cellulite, flawless. What you see on Instagram, what you see on TV, like, she is flawless. And I just stood there. And A-Rod is talking to, I guess, a Duke basketball player standing next to me. And I'm just there like, I need to get in the elevator and I can't move. These people must be looking at me thinking she's crazy. So that is my celebrity fun story. I couldn't say a word to her. I should have been like, hey, do you know? But then I hear she's rude too. So God knows what she would have said back to me. But I was in shock. I couldn't believe that J-Lo was standing right there. And I'm like, bitch, I started my career because of your dumbass and your bad acting and that stupid fucking movie. That was so unrealistic. I still haven't fallen in love with the groom, and I never will because would never do that. And I don't know. My grooms now are super young anyway, so that just wouldn't happen. But yeah, that was my...
That hasn't stopped Cher.
No, I know. But yeah.
I know. And also, when it comes to items around celebrities and entertainment, there's no one who knows more than you do.
This is true.
She also has a secret folder on her phone, which we're not going to discuss what it's...
Oh my God, how are you going to talk to them about that?
If you ever see her in person, just ask her. I'm sure she'll show you what that's about.
So, no, that folder is private. It's about celebrities, but, you guys Google and can find stuff too.
But she just happens to save it in her phone. Do you have that hidden in your
No, anybody could
gallery?
Find it. The FBI is about to knock down my door any second now. I kid you not.
All right, so behind the glamour, the flawlessness of your events, have you ever faced a moment of doubt or imposter syndrome in your career?
24/7. Social media is great, but has done us a disservice because you have all of these fantastic planners and designers making these amazing events. And you're constantly comparing yourself. Hey, did I not do good enough? I just did this, this NBA player's wedding. Did I not go all in? Should I have done something differently? So the imposter syndrome is real. And I'm sure you feel it too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We've, like you said, we've been doing this for a really long time. It's really hard to not fall into that. You have to step away. You can't compare yourself. You have to say, I am unique because A, B, and C. I am unique because I am a ball buster. I don't think I am the center of attention at the wedding. I'm actually very behind the scenes. In high school, I won an award that was called brain fog, menopause.
It's real.
It's a real award, I promise you.
Oh no, I meant the brain fog.
Oh, well, that part too. It was kind of like an award of the unsung hero. And it was because I used to put all the pep rallies together.
I didn't know that part.
Yeah, I did pep rallies when I was in high school. Like I put them together, I organized them. I would get my friends to do skits and dances and get the DJs and get all of that involved.
Does any planning happen prior to that in your life?
Probably.
Can you remember the first time you planned something?
My 15s.
You planned your own 15s?
Yeah, a lot of fights with my mom. My bougie ass, my poor mom. I mean, come on, I'm from Hialeah.
Bougie, you, what Manolos
yeah,
we're talking about.
But I'm from Hialeah. She had to bring me down to earth and be like, no, you cannot have roses. We need to do carnations because I can't afford it. And I had a fit and I started crying. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be the poor girl that had carnations at her 15s. No. And I came out of this carousel because I was Cinderella. So yes, that would probably have been the first event that I planned. But going back to, I was the unsung hero. And I think that sets me apart from a lot of people. So I try to, I'm very transparent there. And it's been great for me, but it's also had its backfalls because sometimes there's planners out there that they love to create these experiences using all these fancy words and, oh, this is going to be amazing. And I'm very much like, if I don't like what you show me, it's in my face. I'll be like, that shit is tacky. And I've
only heard that 1,000 times a month.
Yeah. Or they'll look at me and be like, Marylen, what's your opinion? I'm like, I don't like it. And they're like, but be honest. And I was like, okay, that's tacky as fuck. Or it doesn't look right, or it's not going to match, or it's not going to blend well, or it's not your personality. Let's bring out your personality a little bit more. So imposter syndrome, you can quiet it down. But nowadays it's really difficult. Like I said, social media is great, but that's one of its downfalls. So, yeah.
Got it. Okay. I like knowing about the quinceañera bit.
We can bring some pictures one day.
That's exactly what's going to happen. I just didn't want to say it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So people know you for your event planning and your beautiful work that you do. But what's a side of you that most clients and most colleagues close to you don't get to see?
Oh, damn it. Well, that's a question for you.
I'm sorry, what?
That's a question for you. Like what?
I don't know what I don't get to see about you because I don't see it.
I mean, I think that when I'm obviously, if you know me, I'm not an emotional person.
She doesn't have tear ducts. They have been surgically
That's what he says. I think they're there somewhere.
I've 20-something years, I've never seen a tear shed from your eyes.
So I think a lot of people don't get to see, especially particularly recently, a lot of the anxiety that creeps in, that comes through, that I try to control, that I try to, not let anyone see that aspect, because, you don't want anybody to see your vulnerability and your
weak
weakness,
side. Yeah.
And your weak side. And I've tried to be more transparent and more vulnerable about it through my social media. But it's hard because as a woman, as a Hispanic single woman, you're taught you got to be tough.
Mm-hmm.
You can never let them see you cry. There's no crying in baseball. There's no crying in owning a business. You have to wing it and put your best face forward. And if you cry in your car.
Don't let anyone see you, and don't
let
ruin your
anybody see
makeup.
you cry. Don't ever lose your face and go for it. So I think that's probably the side that people tend to not see. And listen, one of my favorite movies is A Star Is Born. You all know what happens at that movie. Not even from the first time did I cry. So I think there's a mystery there. I need to go to Bascom Palmer, figure out what's going on. I don't know.
Never have I seen her cry.
No.
All right. Those are my 3 questions, right?
Yeah. It's my
awesome.
turn.
Good
Yay.
job.
Yay.
Great.
All right. So mine are a little bit more boring, but again, we're here about being vulnerable and being able to know a little bit about us, right? So we've been in the industry for over 25 years, and neither of us have ever been married. I know my reasons. What are yours? What's held you back from marriage?
This is a really
What is
interesting
your
question.
description of your ideal soulmate?
Oh, fuck. This is a multi-layered question.
It's a fucking loaded question.
This is not fucking bitch. There's an incorrect question because I have been married.
What the fuck? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, this friendship is over.
Yeah. This is pre-gay marriage being accepted.
Okay.
I, for all intents and purposes, had a wedding ceremony, an exchange of rings.
How did I not know this?
How did you not know this?
I don't know.
You serious?
I'm sure a lot of people don't know this shit. You married a woman?
No.
Oh. You said it was pre-gay marriage.
No. Not pre-gay marriage, meaning it wasn't legal.
Oh,
to have a
okay.
gay
Shit, I was
marriage.
like, oh, that's see, he married a woman and everything. I'm like, holy shit.
I mean, I did have girlfriends till my
Okay,
late-
so
late
it was
teens.
so it was a
Commitment ceremony.
a commitment ceremony.
Correct.
Thank you.
Legally, no, because at that point,
Okay.
gay marriage wasn't accepted in the state of Florida, right? So it was a commitment ceremony. It was an exchange of rings.
I was not invited.
I don't know how well I knew you at that point.
Okay.
It was pretty an intimate affair, and it was a growing and learning opportunity.
Wow, my question now totally sucks. I didn't know this.
Yeah. Well,
Wow.
now you know me a little bit better.
Shit.
But the second part of that question and third,
The second part is, or the question is, what's your description of your ideal soulmate?
that's a good one. For me, a soulmate is someone who can be with me, exist with me in every aspect of my life, where there's a vulnerability on both sides of us to want to grow, want to open up and be vulnerable so that growth could happen as a union, and to be able to have a future that we're both invested in. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Second question.
She speaks to the camera all the time.
Talk about how theater has impacted your life.
Oh, this is awesome. This is a good one. So,
I'm not done. My questions are loaded.
no, clearly they're layered.
Like nachos.
Yeah.
And then after that, talk to me about your favorite Broadway musical and why.
Ooh, yes.
So first, I want you to talk about how theater has impacted your life.
Again, I think there's some stuff you're not going to know either. So
I feel like I'm with a stranger right now.
Yeah, love
This is
this.
incredible.
Well, one thing about me, I would say in the past 10 years, I've got to a place where I'm much more available to open up about things. But one thing about me that hasn't changed is I don't share a lot of information without a prompt. Like, I won't often just say shit out of my mouth without it being in the right context or conversation, right? So the first time I remember doing anything that was audience facing, I'll call it, was in summer camp. We were doing a end of summer performance. And for this performance, I was cast as the role, drum roll, as we're gonna have to drop an image into the YouTube version of this, Richard Simmons.
Oh my God.
They literally put a wig on me, a colorful tank top, and little short shorts. And this was an exercise class mock-up, right? So I actually straddled another person. They laid on the floor flat, and my towel kind of masked the difference between me and the legs that I was playing for. So when I would do this, the leg would literally shoot up to the ceiling. And I was doing this entire funny workout. I think I was like 12. And that was probably the first time I remember really being in front of an audience, being stupid, getting laughs, loving the attention. Then,
So different than now.
So, I mean, day and night, like who the fuck am I? So fast forward to my transition between what we call middle school to high school. I took a class in high school called Stagecraft. Stagecraft showed you everything behind the scenes: lighting, directing, wardrobe, makeup, set design and construction, everything except acting. So I did that. I think it was my 9th grade and 10th grade. And when I was moving to 11th grade, they said, hey, why didn't you audition for theater? I said, sure. So I went into the audition, and they actually moved me right into comprehensive theater, which is a 4th level year. So then my last 2 years, not only was I on stage acting, I was behind stage making the scenes happen. That's where I got to theater, and then, you know, college and other things we could talk about another point. But it wasn't until several years into my industry and my business that, probably in conversation, people asking me to define my style, that I thought, oh shit, my style is from the theater. It's cinematic. Its lighting is different. It's moody. It's something that you see in a movie and a film and theater. So it took me a while to realize that that's what that was. And then once I knew that, I played more into being able to get what I learned at the theater from behind the stage to on the stage into my role as a photographer in the wedding industry.
Nice.
Yeah.
So
question.
what's your favorite Broadway musical and
Oh,
why?
man. On stage, Broadway musical is definitely going to be Hamilton. I've seen it about 8 or 9 times now. And one of my greatest experiences as a photographer was I got to go photograph Alex Lackmore, who's a musical director of Hamilton. And shortly after that, I was like, oh, and at that point, Hamilton hadn't really gone on to Broadway. After I heard about the show called Hamilton, I go to see another show called On Your Feet. And a friend of mine named Andy Senior is associate director for that show. And I said, hey, who do you think is going to win the Tony this year? And he says, Hamilton. I said, what the fuck is Hamilton? It was literally playing in the theater next to On Your Feet, which is a Gloria Estefan musical. And, oh, I said, cool. So I tried to buy tickets. And of course, I couldn't buy tickets. I didn't realize the craze behind the show. So I go and I message him. I said, hey, is it okay if I ask Alex to help me get tickets? He's like, of course. So I asked the musical director. He says, no problem. I'm going to get you 2 tickets. The only caveat is you have to be in that theater for that show. Cool. To make a long story very short, I arrived an hour after the show started, and I missed the first hour of the show. I was devastated. I was literally as white as a ghost, but I did have 8th row center seats. I watched the show was over, and this is the most amazing part. They got me on stage to meet the entire cast. I met Lin-Manuel, Jonathan Groff, everybody, and it was heaven. Turn of events, the next day when my flight is supposed to leave got canceled. I messaged Alex. I said, Alex, can I just stand in the room where it happens for the first hour? He said, I can't do that, but you could buy standing room tickets only, stand in the back of the theater on the ground floor and watch it from there. It's only $45. These tickets were going for like $1,000. I said, abso-fucking-lutely. So I stood for 3 hours the next day and watched it all over again. That was my second time watching it.
Funny how you've never seen Sex and the City, but you know about abso-fucking-lutely. Just throwing that in there.
Is that a quote from that movie?
Yes, from the series. God.
Sorry.
I don't know what kind of gay man he is, but
Without a gay card.
yeah, totally lost your gay card.
Mm-hmm.
So, and funny enough, side note, when I went to see On Your Feet, I remember texting you saying, hey, the guy from On Your Feet that plays Emilio Estefan is hot. And you're like, well, if you want to meet him, you can go to the back door. I go, what's the back door? What is that?
Stage door.
Backstage door. Right.
Stage door.
Well, whatever, you know what I meant. Sorry, I forgot who I'm talking to. So
Back door of the theater.
So the back door of the theater, and
Stage
I say,
door. Fuck.
whatever, man. So he tells me how to get there, and that's how I found out about this stage door. And I got, and I had no idea.
I didn't know that. That was that first time.
And that was my first time doing something like that. And after that, forget it. I met Bryan Cranston.
Mm-hmm.
I met Adam Driver. I met Leah Michelle, Jonathan Groff, and
Everybody.
I was like, that's it. After learning that little antidote, so there you go.
And the funny part is that every time you go to Broadway, or sorry, to New York, obviously I know you're going to see a show.
Yeah.
But I'm always waiting on her story to see
The
her
back door.
stage door.
The back door.
Her stage door experience. Her stage door experience and the autograph and the photo.
It's so cool.
I didn't know that.
It's so cool.
That is
But
kind of cool.
And then, so my last question is,
Yeah.
themes of legacy and storytelling are prevalent in Hamilton. What do you want your photographs to say about the love stories you capture?
Wow. What a legacy I want my photograph to say about my photography. I think more than anything, I want those images to take the couples back to their heightened love and experience of that day. But at the same time, it sounds a little sappy, I want them to remember the joy they had and how much fun we had. I think one thing I do is when I go to a wedding, I dress like I'm a guest at a wedding. I want to make sure I look as professional as possible and I fit in with the rest of the crew. But I also want to make sure that they enjoy this experience. I don't want to have any tension. I don't want any frustration. I always tell them, listen, we're going to make a timeline. We're going to make a process and a plan. And at any point that changes, we're good. If you look at me halfway through this party and say, Manolo, I'm done with these fucking photos, I said, let's go to the bar and take a shot. Because why? Why are you going to do all this planning, all this investment, and not enjoy it? So it's kind of two-tier. I want them to remember where that couple was in the moment of their romantic journey and their love story. But I also want to remember the fun and the joy they had.
So that concludes our first episode of the Ringleaders Show. Please stay tuned next week. We're going to have some pretty interesting guests that we want you to definitely stay tuned for.
Absolutely.
We're done?
I think we're done, yeah.
I'm so done with his ass. Goodbye.
Peace out.